It's been 2.5 years since Canadian pastor Reverend Hyeon Soo Lim was arrested and sentenced to a lifetime of hard labor while on a humanitarian mission in North Korea. Now, with the release and subsequent death of American prisoner Otto Warmbier, his family and church and calling on the Canadian government to do more. Family Representative Lisa Pak joins us. Lisa, nice to have you again on 100 Huntley Street.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, we really do care about Pastor Lim. He's one of us in Canada. We've been covering this story. And, so as you think about what was going on with Otto's story, and, 21-year-old guy, yes, he did something he shouldn't have done. By most standards, it's no big deal. He took a propaganda banner down, but he was arrested. And then after spending, more than a year in jail, he was brought back to the United States. Were you optimistic and excited to hear about that?
Absolutely. So the first we hear that he's been released, and the family, the church, myself, were very optimistic. It's a good sign, the diplomacy must be going somewhere. And then we hear that he's released in a state of a coma, and then you're a little bit disheartened, and then a few days later he dies. And I think that's what really triggered something in the family. And they're like, something has gone wrong or not happened in the 2.5 years that he's been detained. And so the strategy has to change at this point.
I work with persecuted Christians, around the world, including North Korea. And, often, and we will try to always follow the lead within the country, whether it's Eritrea or some of these other places, not to speak out forcefully if the believers and Christians in the country saying, okay, just keep it low. So you've been trying to do that, letting the Canadian government take the lead. You must be terribly frustrated, though.
I think, for me, as an advocate of the family, I am frustrated, to be honest. I think the family's more disheartened because they're being told that the Canadian government is doing everything they can. And there's no reason for us not to believe the Canadian government, but at the same time, he's still detained. It's been 2.5 years, and something about what you have been doing, the best you can, something has to change now because obviously a young man has now died. And this is concerned for all the people who have family and friends detained in North Korea. Something hasn't worked, and he's a man who's over 60 years old now. So
he did over 100 trips into North Korea. No problems before.
No problems.
Why, again, just for those that are not as familiar with Pastor Lim's story from the Toronto Presbyterian Church, what was different about the last trip?
There was nothing. It was a routine trip for somebody who is doing humanitarian work in North Korea. And again, they're aware that our church has been giving them food. We have orphanages, elderly homes, projects that are long-term, 2 decades of humanitarian work. This was one of those routine trips where he would go in and just survey what's going on, make sure the resources are going to where they're supposed to be going, and then just exit. Which was very normal for him to do. He's not an unwise traveler. He's not going to cause he's not going to do anything that would jeopardize the work that we've been doing. And so again, it's a bit confusing for us why he was detained and now why he's been detained for so long.
I know many missionaries, especially younger ones, do make mistakes, and again, dozens and dozens of trips. So what can we do now? What are you asking, our viewers to do? What can we practically do?
Well, first of all, I do want to mention that Senator Yana Martin visited our church on June 22nd, and she gave a press conference calling out Prime Minister Trudeau to take personal attention and pay personal attention to this case, because we do believe that it needs that kind of senior official eyes in terms of the diplomacy. We would love for the people to write to their local MPs to just push the government to do something, and we would love for people to pray. That is the most important.
Yeah, and we have a petition, and we're going to have it on the screen here for people to get involved. And, you can find out who your local MP is and put pressure on them, just saying we need to do something. Our friends in the U.S., when it came to Otto's story, and rightfully so, it is a travesty what's happened. And that must be discouraging. Why in the U.S. is this attention and for a really good man?
Yeah. And sometimes the question is, does he have to die to receive this kind of attention? And it shouldn't have been the case with Otto either. He should not have died. It should not have gone that far. But now we see our American counterparts doing something about it, keeping the news in the media. And in our end, we would like to see the same thing. He has not died yet. There is still hope to him getting home safely. So why not take that chance now? And why not use that as an opportunity escalate negotiations, bring him home to his family.
And that will be, and I pray that'll happen, and we'll have him on the program.
That'd be great.
And, again, Lisa, thank you for all the work that you're doing, and thank you for keeping us up to date. I know it's several months now since they've heard from Pastor Lim, so we need to continue to pray. And, again, this is one of our brothers in the Lord. The Bible talks about, if one part of the body suffers, we all suffer. So continue to pray for Pastor Lim. Also sign the petition and talk to your MP. We'll have more of 100 Huntley Street right after this.